Welcome to Title Talk with your host, Drew Wishover, entrepreneur, a published author, and owner of Inspired Title Group, along with his co-host and CEO, Amy Maley. Each week, they offer you some laughs, industry terminology, tips and strategies, along with the occasional real estate professional to help educate you as it pertains to buying, selling, or just plain old homeownership. Thanks for spending time with them. Now, let's jump into today's episode of Title Talk.
Go.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. What is this? This is Title Talk again.
We've made it to another
We
Thursday.
keep doing that. That's
We somehow,
crazy.
I feel like this helps me get through the week.
It's
I
something
feel-
to look forward to.
Yeah,
right?
looking forward to something every
Absolutely.
week is great. So.
Absolutely. Hey, well, my name is Drew.
And my name is Amy.
We are Inspired Title. We are the title company for the ages, the title company that cares. What do you got? What's one of your favorites?
We're the title company that gives back.
We are.
I think that's part
We
of one
are.
of my favorite things about being a with this company.
Absolutely. No, that's outstanding. It is absolutely
you.
great to have you guys here. It's great to continue to grow our following. We really appreciate our listeners. We appreciate the folks who call, who
Yes.
text, who send us messages, some emails, some
For
content. Yet last week's show, how great was that?
Dude, last week,
I mean,
sorry that it kind of got cut out. There was a lot of Wi-Fi usage happening
Yes.
here, so we
Yes.
kind of got cut out a little bit. But we did post the links to our YouTube
Yes.
page. If you have some time, I strongly suggest going to check those out. Colin is someone that I've seen a couple times, but I've never really had many conversations with him like Drew has. So being able to hear his stories and about how he is so motivational and how he talks about life and the things he's endured and how he's made it through it, it's such a fantastic thing to be able to listen to and hear.
well said, Aim. I think that was something that really inspired me the most of having him on here, is allowing him to tell his story
It
to
was
us.
so good.
And I'm really sorry that the audio was a little bit choppy and such, but please head on over to our Inspired YouTube channel, subscribe, like. But if you do nothing of those, you've got to listen to those interviews.
Yeah.
There are, I believe there's 4 of them up
There's
there.
three or
four of them up there.
And they're segmented out really nice.
Yeah, he
They're
talks
kind of
about
broken up. too.
9/11, his experience with that, his experience with being an actor and how he related it to the real estate business and being an investor, and then he speaks about how he got started in the acting career and some of the things that he's done. So please take a
Like I
listen
said,
to that.
he is a very cool person to listen to talk.
Oh, he's one of my
He's
favorites. He's really one of my favorites.
He's
So
really, really cool.
today's show, we are going to also have a guest on in a little while, but we're gonna jump into our segments that we like to do
We missed
here.
him last week.
Yeah, we did, because we were just all about Colin last
We
week.
were all about Colin.
And I think it was good. I think
I
it
think
was
it was
the listenership and the feedback that we got was amazing. So looking forward to having him back on again soon. Now it is my pleasure to introduce a brother, a friend, a colleague, a client, but that's like the last part. The other ones are much more endearing and important to me. That we want to bring some knowledge that he has and tap into his wealth of knowledge and talk to you guys about some things that are going on in the industry with regard to foreclosure, forbearance, and we're going to talk a little bit about that. So without further ado, I introduce to you my good friend Faisal El-Khatib. Nice to meet you. Nice to see you. Great to have you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Good to see you.
Enter on any side of the
Okay.
Faisal, thank you so very,
I
very
like
kindly.
the whole,
Isn't this
sorry,
great?
I'm holding up my.
You are.
Yes.
She's good at this.
Yeah, Brittany's been killing this, and I mean, we are, again, we're moving on to a whole nother
Level.
here, and I'm happy and proud of what's happening and what's going on. So
I'm trying to figure out where I need to sit between the camera.
it's the opposite of what you think.
It's really weird.
It is.
Yes.
Yes.
It's very strange.
Yes.
It is very
Point you at me.
strange.
If you look and point at Amy, you'll still be pointing at
I'll
Amy.
still be pointing at
Amy doesn't
It
change.
won't flip me.
Yeah.
This is now Drew, and this
Yeah,
is now
exactly. It's the above you
They
that you
look
don't know.
they look the above or the below.
Yes, that's weird.
The Stranger Things.
So why don't we, first of all, introduce yourself and talk just a minute about yourself, and then let's jump into
Sure.
our topic.
Name is Mahmoud Faisal Khatib. I'm an attorney. It's gonna be, is it a decade? No, not yet. Almost.
Wow, really?
Yeah. It seems like time has gone by.
And I think I've known
Real
you
fast.
for a better part of that time, right?
Yeah, I mean, was it 4 or 5 years?
Probably
6
about-
years? Something
It'll
like
be
that.
6 years in January is like when we started working together. Because that's when I started working here, and you were like getting in with him. So
I felt it feels so much longer.
It does. That usually, that's not a good thing.
No, but
It's
It
like, oh
feels
my
like
god, it feels like it's been
forever.
forever we've been together. Oh my
I'm
god.
seriously sitting here going, "There's no way you're right on that." And then Amy chimes in and kind of backs
Right,
up.
yeah,
Yeah, it
it
is. It's
seems.
6.5
I
to
think
7 years.
it's like a common. It seems like yesterday that we started, right? Good
Yeah.
old God rest his soul, Stubby,
Oh.
right?
That's,
God
and that's
bless
where
him.
that's
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
I got transported back to.
Yeah. And so looking, I mean, that seems so long ago that happened, yet it seems like just yesterday.
Yeah.
And I think the reason it feels so much longer is because there's such a deep connection,
Well
right?
said. Well said. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a true statement.
Because I remember with Courtney, I was like,
Yeah.
someone asked me, like, how long have you known each other? And I'm like, oh my god, at the time it'd been like only like
3
a year and a
days.
half, 2 years. Right. Like it was like a year and a half, 2 years, and I'm like, really? That's a really close connection you have for someone you've known for 2 years.
Yeah.
Like it's just sometimes when the
You
right
click.
people just
Well, and I've said that on today's show, and I've said it even on others, that, aligning yourself with people of the alike. And, we have a very similar approach to our career and what we do. I think we have a passion for, you've been deemed and tagged as the after-the-fact attorney, which I collectively will take all the responsibility for, but I think it's truth, because there are so many people that will not handle a third of the things that you touch, because I think that's what excites you, is the things that other people. I mean, yeah, anybody can do this, but
right.
oh wait, that's a disaster. Give me it.
Let me do
Let me
it.
figure out how to untangle that.
Yes.
Yes. You did come up with the nomenclature after the fact attorney. I think I've got a few Instagram posts where, hey guys, I'm your after the fact attorney.
I've heard them,
Yes,
and I've
yes.
kind of smirked at all of them. Those
Yes.
are great.
Yes. I think I'm gonna go like a whole tagline of Instagram after the fact attorney.
I love
I
it.
think you should.
Hashtag.
I like it. Hashtag after the fact.
I own it.
Yep, I completely do.
It is you.
So my area of law is, I mean, I've been classifying it recently as distressed real estate,
Okay.
which includes foreclosures, forbearance, receiverships, just building code violations, all that
Yeah.
type of stuff. So
Okay.
yeah, so that's kind of where we're at, and I know you wanted to talk about foreclosures and forbearance.
Yeah, I think that it's something that you and I have talked a little bit about it over the last several months, and without really knowing the factual direction that the marketplace is going, we can only venture a very logical guess based on what's happening. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, like especially if we're gonna talk about foreclosure and forbearance, the issue that I find most problematic what's happening right now is, well, it's a common theme that's the servicers are lying.
Okay.
Right? So the servicer is the person that is collecting your mortgage payment, or is the one that you're coordinating and corresponding with for your forbearance. And what I've been hearing them tell people has been very problematic. So I'll start with what the rules are for COVID.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So the COVID rules said you get, right now where it's at is you get 18 months of forbearance if you have a COVID related difficulty. So you just say, because of COVID, I'm not making as much, or it's costing me more, or there's an impact at all of COVID on you.
Okay.
You can use that as a basis to forbear
Mm-hmm.
and not have to pay your mortgage payments for this period of time.
Okay.
And so services are doing it at 3 months at a time or 6 months at a time. So every 3 months you just have to say, I need more time. So the total max that was allowed under the CARES Act was 18 months.
Okay.
Right? So then you get these 18 months, and then at the end of the 18 months, your option is you can start making your payments as if nothing changed, and the entire 18 months goes to the back end of your loan. Right? An amazing opportunity to save up 18 months of cash, right? So if you don't have to make your mortgage payment, your taxes, your insurance, and you're just saving all that, you're just banking that for a rainy day,
Right,
right?
Yeah.
So that's amazing source of cash flow.
right.
Well, what services are doing, you're saying, at various moments, like they did this to several clients of mine, where they would be like, oh yeah, at the 12-month mark, there's no renewal. And I'm like,
Wow.
that's garbage. I know there's a renewal. I'm like,
Right.
no. If you can't make your payment anymore, we'll look at doing a loan mod or some of your other options, and we're going to start reporting negatively against you on your credit report. So I forgot to say, while you're doing these 18 months, no negative reporting.
Yes, correct.
So it's as if you made your payments,
Right, they're not gonna tag you.
right?
Mhm.
Now, the other qualifier is this is for government loans.
Right.
So that means if you're a Fannie loan, Freddie Mac, HUD, Ginnie Mae,
Freddie, Ginnie Mae, Freddie Mac.
FHA loans,
FHA, I was gonna ask if
right?
that was.
FHA's
okay.
included, all the government subsidized loans, which is pretty
Oh,
much
VA
almost
loans?
60, the VA loans, which is pretty much the farm
Sure.
loans.
I was gonna
can't
say a
remember
big
what they're
chunk
called, but so which is like it's
Yeah.
almost like 60 to 70% of the loans that are issued out, right? Now, here's the question: people are like, well, how do I know if I'm a government loan?
Right.
You know if you get an FHA loan because usually you have
PMI.
well, not necessarily.
Well, not necessarily, no.
You would have like a 3% down payment,
Right.
or you had FHA loans. You'll have the paperwork that shows that. But there are websites you can go on and look at, and you go to Freddie Mac loan lookup.
Mhm.
So what I would recommend is you go Freddie Mac loan lookup, Fannie Mae loan lookup. HUD has lookups, so you can see, and you can just ask your servicer, right?
They
The
will tell
person,
you.
hey, is this a Fannie, Freddie, or they have to tell you.
Is this a government loan?
They have to tell you.
Right.
And by government loan, it means that usually you went to Guaranteed Rate, you went to Chase, you went to Wintrust, you went
Wells.
to any Wells Fargo, you went to any one of these mortgage brokers or banks, you borrowed money from them, then while you were sleeping, 3 months later, they sold it to Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac or Ginnie or all these other entities, right? So it doesn't mean you went to Freddie Mac and called them and they gave you a loan directly. It means that they've backed your loan,
Right.
okay, or they've bought your loan from the lender that you're dealing with.
Right.
And you would know that is because you made your first 3 payments with XYZ Bank,
Yes.
and then suddenly they said, make your
You're
payment
now
to this
paying.
place,
Yes.
right? So then when you made your payment to the new place, you know your loan got transferred to somewhere, and if that's the case, it's a 60% chance, 60 to 70% chance that it was a government that
Right.
bought it,
Mhm.
okay?
Correct.
So, no negative payments, right?
Mhm.
So now we're gonna go back, catch up everybody. We're gonna go back to where I said what the servicers are saying. So they were telling this client that if you don't make the next payment, we're gonna negatively report against you. Which was not true at all.
And then
So
at
they
13
threatened them
months.
with that.
At the 13th, at
Yeah.
11 months.
Okay, so they tossed out an idle threat.
An idle threat.
Okay.
And then the question was, well, wait a minute, what if, I don't understand, is it about COVID? Are you gonna negatively, yes, we're gonna have to negatively report you. And that was to trick the borrower
Yeah.
to start making payments again
Stop it.
and get off COVID. And I'll tell you why. The servicers are getting their money from these loans. So
Okay.
when you
Right.
make your payment,
Right.
the servicer takes a cut off the top to finance their operations. So if everybody
That is
stops
so-
paying, they don't get any money because Fannie Mae's not reimbursing for missed payments. So they don't have the cash.
Sorry
Oh.
about that. Holy Moses. That
I
was-
made sure to turn mine on silent just for the record. Just let you
Yeah, no, I didn't. But go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
So that's okay. So, for their own financial incentive, they're tricking people into making payments.
Okay.
So, in this particular case, the client said, yes, I'll do the loan mod, and gets to make payments, calls me, I tell them no, they call them back and say, I wanna go back on COVID relief.
Yeah.
They put them back on COVID relief for
That
another
is
6 months.
That's insane.
It gets worse. So now I've got another client where he called up and said, hey, I'm ready to, I'm okay, I can get back. They didn't let him go to 18 months, right? Because they
Right.
tricked him, he had to do it. But they then told him that he had to make a payment.
Like,
Oh, wow.
They said make a down payment, a
Shut up.
downstroke, and so he paid like $5,000 or $6,000 towards
To-
the quote unquote back balance that he should have never had to pay because it should have been added to the back end in full.
And this was all led by the servicer?
Servicers.
So they actually,
That's insane.
yeah, they led this charge to defraud
I was gonna say falsely.
the
So
borrower?
they hide behind, well, the borrower made the choice. We laid out the options. We're not their attorneys. We don't give credit advice. Like a bunch of garbage, right? But the reality is they're tricking them because that $6,000
Yeah.
that my client paid,
Yeah,
that's going to go straight into their coffers,
oh, of course.
right?
Of course.
Because they're going to say, well, sir, they're going to tell Fannie Mae, for example,
Wow.
we had 12 months of, so we're applying this payment to the last 12 months of servicer fees.
Oh my gosh.
So let me back up a minute and just kind of, a lot has been said right there. So
It is vibrating. Is that you?
this,
No.
Must be the phone.
something, you talked about this 18-month period. Will these things all start coming due at varying times? Right? It's all contingent on when.
So it's 18 months of when you first asked for your COVID relief. So if you asked for COVID relief in May, then it's 18 months from May. If you
Okay.
did it in October, it's 18 months from that October.
Okay.
If you call now and ask for COVID relief, it starts 18 months from now.
Are they still doing that?
Yes,
Yes.
because it's not till December is when it expires.
December. Okay.
So this is why we're bringing this to your attention now. Excuse me, because I think next year, in the first quarter of next year, we're gonna start to see some of these 18-month periods expire.
Expiring, yeah.
And there's gonna be decisions having to be made, right? So, exampling of what you spoke of there is just one scenario. Have you heard any information, have you heard anything about any other plans or
Of extensions
programs,
or
right, that they're talking about?
renewals or.
So,
the $3.5 trillion plan that they're talking, the infrastructure plan,
yes,
I don't know what they've got it. I mean, it's so convoluted. I haven't even read it. I don't plan to read it. Right? I'll wait for somebody else to read it and give us the cliff notes.
after the fact attorney?
After the fact attorney, yeah. But I believe that there's some money in there to help support and bolster, and I mean they're gonna have to, because the issue is within the next 6 months or so, at least the next 6 months, maybe up to the next 12 months, all these forbearances are gonna come due. Right? And so here's the important thing is I want you people, our peeps here,
Yes,
right, to walk away with something as to
Yes.
what to do.
of course.
So I'm gonna give that nugget now.
Here comes the nugget.
Pregnant
Stand
pause.
by.
Tune in.
Patience.
Turn your volume up.
Ready?
Right
Get
now.
your notebook ready.
Get your notebook, taking
Yes.
notes. Okay, when it's time for your forbearance to come up, you're gonna ask them to add the entire balance to the back end of your mortgage.
Seems logical.
Which is, so you've got a 30-year mortgage, you missed a year and a half, your total number of years from the moment you took out the loan will now become 31 and a half.
Mhm.
Right? Which just means that when you sell the property, if any time you're gonna sell it,
Right.
that's when it's gonna get
Just gonna
paid.
amortize
Right.
it differently.
Right.
So, but you now have 18 months of mortgage payments sitting in your bank account if you saved and if you were able to do that. Right? If you didn't save it, doesn't matter. You had 18 months of not having to pay a mortgage. Or maybe you had financial difficulty and you couldn't afford it. Either way, you've got that breathing room.
So they're not gonna say pay.
They do not make a payment up front.
No. They're not gonna say, okay, your 18 months is expired
Yeah.
now,
They're not gonna they're gonna ask, but don't give it. You tell them no.
to add it.
COVID CARES Act says I don't have to make a payment. Why are you asking me for a payment?
Okay. So
My option is to add to the back end.
Right.
So that is what you should all be
There's
saying.
your
and-
there's
At
your
minimum.
takeaway to this.
At minimum.
Yes.
Now, if you can't make your mortgage payment, what do you do?
Well, that's where it goes into this foreclosure piece, right?
That's when you've got the next
Starting that
stage.
process.
Correct.
Because I think because adding it to the end is not gonna necessarily increase your payment. Actually, it's really.
Doesn't
It
change your
shouldn't
payments
change
at
it
all.
affect it at all.
Doesn't affect your payments at all.
If the 18 months expires, they add it to the end, but you're still not working or you're still not able to make that payment, now we go into the next piece of this, which is the conversation about a
What are your
foreclosure.
options are, right? So this is where loan modifications come up, short
Short
sales,
sales.
or even sales, because the equity is really high in the marketplace right
For
now.
sure.
So selling your property is a great option, right? Obviously, that comes with ripple effects, which
Yes.
is if I'm selling my property, I need someplace to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Which means you now have to start making a payment,
Right.
right? So, and not only to start making a payment, you got to find a place.
Right.
And if you've got kids, trying to find a place within the school
Schools.
district to stay within the schools is a major issue,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
So, sometimes selling, and I know all my real estate broker friends are going to be very upset with me on that. Sometimes selling is not the option. Sometimes short sale is not the option.
Right.
Sometimes you just need as much time as humanly possible to
Right.
stay in this place,
Right.
right? And now's the time to really take advantage of that.
And
And you're not alone,
Right.
right? So from the '08 crisis, people were very ashamed of, I borrowed too much, I
Yes.
overextended, and many people shamed
For being in that situation.
for being in that situation.
Yeah.
This is different, right? This is COVID-19, global pandemic. You know, it
Wow.
it
I
was
haven't faced this much before.
Yeah.
it's decimated really much of the world, right?
Yes, for sure.
And at the same time, there is a silver lining to it, right?
Okay.
Because COVID-19 is a great excuse for you to get back on your feet, to
Right.
stabilize what you need. So that also means the perception of it is less stigmatized.
Yes. Well, I think, and you know, heeding the advice of that Faisal is talking about here is really, really helpful, because you know in your current situation right now, whether or not you're gonna be able to make that payment, afford it or not. I mean, this isn't gonna all of a sudden become a shock to you when the forbearance 18-month period is expiring. You're not gonna go, oh darn, I thought I was gonna be able to make that payment. No, you know now what your situation is. So now is the time to get on top of those options that Faisal kind of outlined there a little bit. And speaking to the professionals, the attorneys, the realtors, the title company. I mean, realtists, all of them. Because realistically, getting professionals involved can really forego a lot of pain for you guys in a really terrible pandemic. I mean, nobody predicted this. Nobody, you know, planned this out. Some, you know, there might be some theories out there that this was planned. However, it wasn't.
So next takeaway.
Okay, give us
Next
more.
Next week on Title Talk.
So loan modification. So
Yep.
if you can't make your payment, ask to go into the loan modification process.
What is that?
What does that
So
mean?
the loan modification process is saying, I can't afford the payment, what it is going to be.
Right.
So if your payment was $2,000 a month before COVID,
Right.
18 months of forborn, for whatever it is,
Yes.
forbearance where no payments,
Mhm.
and then now month 19 can't afford that same $2,000.
Right.
You're gonna tell them, listen, I can't afford the 2,000. I need help on a loan mod. And so what they'll put you through the process of where you now submit a whole series of documents, income, hardship statement. That alone will give you 3 to 8 months of negotiations on the loan mod, right? Again, no payments. Now, here's the downside of that. Your credit's gonna get destroyed.
Yeah.
Right, so now you're outside of the COVID protection, the CARES Act protection. That first 19th month of missed payment is gonna be a missed payment.
Yeah.
Okay? So now you've got a missed payment, so now you're going down that road, but you're also talking about 6 to 8 months of no payments while you're going through the loan mod process. You may have, and if you do go into foreclosure, you're still about 12 months of foreclosure. If you hire an attorney for this process, and they're halfway decent, they should be able to, and the volume of foreclosures coming in, that 12 months of foreclosure could take you, it could be 5 years of
Sure.
foreclosure, right?
Sure.
I mean, we've got clients
seen
who've gone 7 years without making a mortgage payment that we represent in the foreclosure case, and then get them out at the end. And the funny thing is, by the time they get out of the foreclosure, it's fallen off their credit report,
It's gone.
right? Because it's 7 years on your credit report out of foreclosure, right? So by the time they're finally out, they can now refinance, they can do things, they can buy a house. Their circumstances financially have changed, it gave them the breathing room they needed, their kids are in college, they don't need
Yes.
schools anymore, they can find so there's a lot of things that change over time that time can give you.
Yeah.
So I guess the thing is, loan modification is an option. refinancing is an option,
Sure.
right?
Yeah. You know,
With
we-
equity where it's at, refinancing may be an option.
Yeah,
huge,
right.
huge. If
Right.
your interest rate is over, 4 or 5% right now, you absolutely can discuss refinancing. And
2.25.
obviously, qualifying for a refinance when you're not employed is obviously the obstacle.
That's not, I mean, you
right?
can be
So-
unemployed or underemployed,
Yes.
right? So you can be making income just not what you were making before.
Right.
And you would qualify, but your payments may be less.
Right.
Just something to be aware of that lenders are now requiring, that I've been hearing, is that if you are going to refinance and you're in a forbearance, you need 3 months
Reserve.
of payments.
Yeah.
No. You gotta get off the forbearance, pay 3 months of your mortgage
and then get
to qualify for a new loan.
interesting.
No, just you have to pay.
You have to prove that you.
You gotta prove that you can pay the mortgage for 3 months out of the forbearance in order to
Interesting.
See,
get
these
get the new refinance.
These rules and regs are constantly, it's a moving target, and it's.
Talk
it's
to an attorney.
Yeah.
Before you try handling this yourself.
reading
talk to
between the
an
lines is
Yeah.
call Faisal to discuss some of the stuff,
Right.
because it's
What should I be looking
realistically-
for? What should I be looking
There's
at?
so much going on, and it's a moving target.
You're going to, like you said, you started out with that.
Yeah.
You've gotta have a cadre of professionals that you can be, what, that's weird.
Yeah, we're a little behind.
The cadre of professional, I'm looking at his Facebook Live thing and it's got me walking in. I'm like, I've been here for
Too long.
Oh, yours is
Go
way
ahead.
behind.
way behind. Alright, so the last thing is you wanna talk to professionals that you know.
Yeah.
So get a couple real estate brokers that you're dealing with.
Mhm.
Get a couple real estate attorneys, attorneys are tough because you talk to one, you get 12 answers.
Yes, that's true.
Oh,
I know.
we know.
But definitely a couple real estate brokers that can tell you what your options are and see what your value of properties are. And talking to a couple mortgage brokers and lenders that can tell you what your options are in terms of refinancing or financing or whatever the case may be. Those two pieces are very important, very critical.
Yeah.
And having an attorney that you can talk to cross-reference is also good.
Always. No, this has been great. I
It's
hope
a lot
you-
of info.
I was gonna say my brain
Yeah.
feels
And
like.
again, this is gonna be snipped to, what we just talked about for a period of time. This will be on our YouTube channel, so you guys can go back and listen to it to catch, because there's a lot of different points that Faisal made, a lot of good information in here, and finding which one is really applicable to you is the important part of that. And maybe you don't know, and maybe you're unsure, but give us a call, we can get you in touch with Faisal.
All of his
Give Faisal a
information's
call,
on top.
his information is scrolling above us. Certainly reach out to your professional circle, but I'll tell you this, this is
You're
where
almost
we
there.
met Faisal, and this is one of the ways that we really connected and started to do business together, was through the foreclosures and the short sales and et cetera. We did these and we're very well versed in them, we understand them, we know what the banks are looking for, the negotiating piece, all of it. We definitely can help out with all that stuff for you guys, and make what is a bad situation not as painful, not as bad, and hopefully it doesn't have the impact on your credit that it could if you just kind of leave it alone.
Yeah,
So
this is life.
Yeah,
Options.
it
You have
is.
options.
It is.
Things happen. The question is not how you got here. It's questions where do you want to go.
right, very, very, very true. So thank you for taking a little bit of time here to give some people some knowledge about what's
Absolutely.
going on out there. I know that you've got some clients and things that you got to do, so we appreciate you taking time out of your busy day, because we don't have a busy day. But this is the most important thing that we should be doing and can be doing today, is doing this in this setting with good people, with our clients, with our people, to just grow the community and really educate, because that's, I think, what we really want to do, is educate the teams, the industry professionals, the lay folks who are sitting out there going, I'm that person he's talking to.
He's talking right to
I'm
me.
that person who is in forbearance right now, and I'm underemployed. What am I gonna do? I hope you call Faisal.
We got to fix that. So my email.
Oh, I took it off your website.
Yeah. Let's do. Can you change? It's too late to change the.
On the fly?
Oh,
She's
yeah.
great, but
Well, we can
we'll
put it in our comments.
Yes.
we'll put it in our comments and we'll
Yes.
make it that way too.
Yeah.
So we're gonna move on to our next few segments. If you want to hang out or go, that's fine. We appreciate you. Thank you. Go on to I think your client
You're
is
gonna
here.
leave me
Oh,
hanging?
he is here.
Oh, he's gonna leave you hanging. Don't leave you hanging. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Faisal
Good to
El
meet you
Khatib.
all.
Nice to see
all.
you again,
Take care.
sir.
Yes, thank
Be
you.
safe.
Thank
Thank you.
you. That was a lot of knowledge packed into a short amount of time.
And that's unfortunately,
I'm not just saying that because he's still walking out.
no, that's unfortunately what's true about this show that we do is we bring in professionals that have so much to say, and the topics are so
Important, and
now. They're
it's sad to people are what they're having to
They
go
are
through
so
right now.
applicable to right now, and I, again, get out there. This will be on YouTube, and we will have this posted tomorrow on our YouTube channel, so you can catch up on it. And if you need to get a hold of any one of us, please reach out and do that. So,
All right, wrapping it up.
what
time.
is your quote for
Okay,
today?
my quote actually really relates to what you were talking to earlier in your motivational minute, which
Nice.
is why it's making me chuckle. Many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up. And that's Thomas Edison.
That's great. I like
Many
it. I
of
like it a
life's
lot.
failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up. I feel like when everybody is so close to that breaking point, it's like one more brick wall you have to bust down
Right.
before you make it to your end goal. So when
I'm laughing because mine literally plays off that.
this,
And further just, so here's my quote. I just digest it and listen to it.
Mhm.
Okay. The same boiling water that softens the potato hardens the egg. It's what you're made of. It's not the circumstance. I mean, we're all doing life. And we're all about confrontation of different obstacles and challenges. So, you guys have a choice, and nobody else has it. It's your choice to decide what you want to do and how you want to do it. So, grab the bull by the horns and go get it. So,
game on.
thank you guys so much for listening to another week of Title Talk. My name's Drew.
And my name is Amy.
We'll see you guys next week, and until then, have a great week. Take
Take
care,
care.
everybody.
Well, there you have it. That is it for this week's edition of Title Talk. Be sure to head over to our Inspired YouTube page and subscribe and like. And make sure you follow the team on Instagram and Facebook. Join us again next time for more tips and knowledge from the industry pros. Thanks again for listening.